Before we get started, tell me your favorite Joestar in the comments down below. Mine, personally, is Josuke Higashikata from part 4. I think he's underrated as Let me explain why. So, from my personal experience, being in a JoJo fandom, or being a Jo Bro, or whatever you want to call it, I don't see enough respect for Josuke's name, personally. I don't know why, and I find that very interesting. Of course, the respect is there, but I think overall, like, the fandom kind of just seems to be very meh with him. Like, they don't seem hyper fans, you know what I mean? Like, hyper, like, you know, like, this guy is amazing. Like, you see it, like, for Joseph, you see it for Giorno, you see it for Jotaro, of course, all the time. As a matter of fact, I see more with Giorno than I do with Josuke, and I find that interesting because personally I don't find Giorno that interesting. He is interesting, but not as interesting as Josuke, in my personal opinion. I talked more about this in a video up here, so you can go check it out if you want to. I do find the psychology of this very interesting, because if you compare Josuke to Giorno, in my opinion, Josuke, like I said, is way more interesting of a character. But for some reason, people like Giorno more. I have a theory about that. In anime, no, I can't use that. A Senku theory. What I think is going on here is that Giorno is more loved simply because he has a seemingly unachievable goal that he ultimately achieves, even though it seemed impossible, or that other people told him was impossible in the beginning of the show. Basically, your traditional shonen protagonist. Josuke, on the other hand, he's a quote-unquote normal high school kid that got dropped into like the middle of a cat and mouse chase between Jotaro, the Speed Foundation, and Dio and his followers for like years on end. And I find that interesting. Here's a quick side note though. I don't know if it's true or not, but here's a crazy thought that I had. Y'all remember the cat plant from part 4, right? You remember how it became a thing? Like how the cat died and it got hit with a stand arrow and it got put in the ground next to a plant, and they became the same thing. Like they became a thing, right? The cat plant. I looked at the scene again, and I find it interesting that this same idea was used in part 8. I think that was intentional. I think Araki, either one of the two things, either he got the idea from part 4 that he made in part 4, and he was like, this is a good idea. I'll do it again, but flesh it out more this time in part 8. Or he was telling us that he already had the idea for part 8 all the way back in part 4. I don't know. One of the two is a cool little Easter egg or a cool little tidbit, you know, that I find interesting. He even kept the setting the same. It's based in Marayo for both parts, and they both have Josuke as the main character. So I mean, like, obviously Araki likes Josuke, and I like Josuke as well. So I mean, hey, it's a win-win here. I might make a separate video on this, but I don't know yet. Back to the video. Josuke doesn't have a big goal like any of the other JoJo's. He was chilling till Jotaro showed up, and Jotaro was like, I now pronounce you main character.
Dance, you fuck! Dance for them! Yes! Yes!
To me, Giorno is a traditional shonen anime protagonist that has a goal that he wants to achieve, and he won't stop until they achieve that goal. Right? And it's like Luffy, it's like Naruto, like Asta, you know, those type of characters. You know, the tentpole characters. Well, Asta is new gen, but so you get the point. Josuke isn't like that at all. Like, Josuke is just an average teen. He's a normal teenager who wants to play video games and hang out with friends. And that's about it. Eat food. Like, you know, like, his family is just insane enough that he has to be dragged into this. He has to deal with this generational rivalry that started with two dudes fighting over some dumb shit. You know what I mean? And one of the dudes died recently, so now he gotta get roped in as well because they're looking into history and trying to find like it's just, like Josuke was just trying to chill, and they just brought him into this shit. And then when you break it down like that, it makes a lot of sense why people prefer to hype up Giorno more than they hype up Josuke. Because Josuke is chilling. You know, he's nothing crazy. He's nothing crazy of a character. But Giorno is the closest to a cliche shonen protagonist that we have in JoJo's. He's one of the closest. Like Jonathan, of course. But Giorno, I think, is one of the closest. And ironically enough, since his father is Jonathan, it makes a lot of sense that he would act like that. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. It's interesting to really break it down and understand. Also, now that I think about it, like, Josuke is kind of the same way because wasn't Joseph also kind of thrown into the mix? Like, he wasn't trying to like have no big grand goal. Like, Joseph was just chilling, and then his family found out some history about the mask, and then now Joseph got to get wrangled up in all this because, well, it's his family. So now you got to help save his family from getting hurt, and like he wasn't trying to do all this, you know. like it's kind of like a family tradition, like a very specific family tradition. Giorno took after his father, and it's different from how Josuke took after his father, you know, and every generation has their own unique thing about them, and I find that very interesting. I do have a little video for y'all if you want to see it. It's towards the end of the video, so stick around to that. But if you want to see me speed run Steel Ball Run and JoJo Leon and reacting to Chapter 1 of JoJo Lands, which came out this March, I'm excited for that. Go check out it up here, okay? I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.
His stand's completely overpowering mine. This would be so much easier if I couldn't hear the noises that his stand is making. I mean, the headphones are working, but not well enough. If only these were noise canceling. Oh, this would be so much easier.
This is a national emergency.
Oh my god.
A nuclear attack was commenced.
The stand arrow. I forgot about that. Oh man, I don't want to use it though. I was planning to use it on my friend, but I don't think I have much of a choice now. Well, here goes nothing. Whoa. Oh my goodness. I can't hear a thing. Yeah, it's over. Yeah, it's over for you, buddy. Come here.
Well, his friend didn't make it, and neither will he. Because even though the headphones did work, that he didn't hear a thing, he also didn't hear his own demise. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't get your own pair of SOUNDCORE Life 30, okay? Even though he died, these bad boys will still keep going. They're noise canceling, so if you're out in public and you don't want to hear no noises, you want to just hear your music and that's it, you can do that with these, okay? Link in the description. How do I get out of here?